yeah, you had a lot of women say, well, what do I need a man for? Like,
Right,
I don't need a man for anything
right,
except for some things that you need a man for, right? That,
exactly.
um, you know,
Yeah, I know what you mean.
yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It's just, all right, let's go. Let's do it.
And
All right,
are you
man.
able to hear me well? You able
Yeah, I
to hear
can
me
hear
well
you
or?
well. I can hear
Okay,
you well.
gotcha.
So you're good.
Okay.
So as I told you before, what we're going to discuss is masculinity and manhood. Basically, your perception of what those two things are. So,
Mhm.
and then obviously, anything else that comes up, we'll talk about it as well. So first, I want you to just introduce yourself just a little bit, just let people know who you are, and then we'll jump into the questions.
Gotcha. My name is Jordan Boone. I'm the president and CEO of Nation 10 Brand. Nation 10 Brand is a custom uniform company. So we make football, basketball, track uniforms for different middle schools, high schools, colleges all around the nation. So
All
that's
right.
what I'm the president of. We're partnered with all kind of big schools and organizations across the
All right.
nation.
Good. So let's get into it, man. First question. It's the easy one.
I got you.
What does it mean to be a man? In your opinion, what does it mean to be a man?
What does it mean to be a man? In my opinion, I feel that a leader, um, a, a presence that can give a different perspective on life in regards to, when it comes to life situations. I feel that as a man, the man should be more of the calm one, the protector
Mhm.
in out of the household or in any situation. Um, that's what I think. Yeah, that's a good question. I think that's my definition of a man right there.
All right. So how would you define masculinity?
How do I define masculinity? That's a good question. I feel it's more of a. I think it's more of a male. Of course, it's more of a male dominant trait.
Mhm.
In regards to behavior, that's a tough one. That's tough to actually put.
So let me ask you it this way.
Okay.
Typically, growing up and the experiences that you've experiences you've had, how have people talked about masculinity? How have they talked about it? What examples have you seen?
Um, from what I've seen,
Yeah.
it's more of a stand-up figure.
Uh-huh.
From like me watching my father is the
Uh-huh.
stand-up figure. Um, more it was more how he handled situations with grace, his bluntness. He was very blunt. He was forward thinking, and he took things head on.
Okay.
So from the things that I've experienced and I've grown in, that I picked up on from the male figures that was around me,
Mm-hmm.
that's one of my definition of masculinity in a sense.
How has that how has that impacted you in terms of have you as you're as you growing into yourself or getting older or whatever the case is, or did it get to a point in your life where you felt like maybe not necessarily from your dad, but that you saw one thing or you were exposed to one thing, but you felt like you needed to make a change? Like, how did you become your own man?
I feel that a lot of things in regards to when it was me becoming my own man, I feel there was a lot of things that I picked up that was on my dad. Is a lot of things that shaped me, but in
Mm-hmm.
regards to certain things, when it comes to my communication, picking that up from my mother, that was something that I picked up from him because my dad wasn't the best communicator.
Okay.
It was basically, what he says is what goes, or how he felt, or everybody should just go with the flow, and he let us know later.
Mm-hmm.
I picked up. So when it come to me developing this one, I became a better communicator. I became a better understander and
Mm-hmm.
understanding of everyone's situation, and noticing that and realizing that that everyone comes from different backgrounds and everyone has a different viewpoint on particular situations.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you've probably heard the term toxic masculinity, right? You heard people talk about
Yeah.
toxic masculinity. What does healthy masculinity look like?
What does healthy masculinity look like? Being it's a physical presence, I
Mm-hmm.
feel, of something that I don't have any kids right now. So when I have kids, I want to provide that healthy masculinity to them.
Mm-hmm.
Not only being a physical male presence, but that physical male understander as well.
Mm-hmm.
Giving them that love, giving them one of the, everybody has different love languages and everything. Giving them that that touch, letting them understand that it's okay as a man to have some kind of emotions, and understanding that you're going to go through things as well, and it's okay for you to have feel certain ways, because the way we grew up is we don't show emotions. We don't like when people give us certain type of, to like people touching us and hugging us. Well, we
Mm-hmm.
didn't hug. I didn't never really hug my dad until I got older. You
Mm-hmm.
know, so giving that to my children early on when they're younger, and just being just giving them a lot of things that I picked up, but also fine tuning some things as well and giving them
Yeah.
something different
Yeah.
that I view.
So that was a good segue, because the next thing I was going to talk about is men and feelings and
Mhm.
emotions. Those two
Right,
things don't always
right,
they don't always go over too well, right?
right.
Because some people think that we don't have feelings, and then
Mhm.
a lot of times a lot of men struggle with showing emotion or feelings or whatever, that sort of stuff. So how have
Right,
you dealt with that? Because you said your dad wasn't always like that.
right.
How have you dealt with that?
I think I couldn't. It was tough to deal with as a child because you wanted to understand why,
Uh-huh.
and why doesn't he do that? Why can't I get that? But the older I've got, I realized that that was the way that he was raised,
Mm-hmm.
and because my dad he's from East Texas, he's from the country, so he was my grandpa. They were hard. They was raised hard. They
Mm-hmm.
was raised during the time where there was segregation and there was a lot of things that was going on to where you can't show too many emotions. So that was passed to my dad. My
Mm-hmm.
dad passed that to us, and so it wasn't until I got older is when I started understanding, oh, he's like that because of this.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a correlation. So that's when it wasn't really until I got older. That's when I really kind of started understanding him as a person
Yeah.
and how and connecting and going more into that psychological, research where how does this correlate? Why are people the way that they are? You know,
Yeah.
and so that's what I'm.
So has it affected you in relationships? The whole idea of it, did it at any point affect you when you were first like getting into a relationship where maybe you couldn't show any emotion, or talk a little bit about that if that happened?
Did one of my first it did affect like relationships early on. One of my first relationships, that physical, love that I want. Then this was early on. This is when we first started dating, and
Mm-hmm.
that was solely based off of I didn't see that. I didn't see it. I didn't, when my parents, when they were together, I didn't see it often, so I didn't know what it really looked like. To me, that was things that you saw on TV, and I was an adult. This was literally like 4 or 5 years ago when
Mm-hmm.
I was getting this feedback. So I didn't see it. So how can I give you something that I've never seen before in real time that I can actually touch the people that are doing it? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So that affected the relationship. So me understanding, which is one of the things I mentioned, that I started developing into my own man, was understanding what my partner needs or whoever that's in my circle
Mm-hmm.
may need, and being able to, and noticing that it's okay to give them that, and being able to give them that.
Yeah. Was that hard?
It was it was hard solely based off of I didn't know what kind of response I was going to get because I felt that I was going to be seen as weak.
Oh, okay.
That's where it was difficult for me to give that. But now I'm more embracing of it. I'm more, I'm more open to give that
Mm-hmm.
compared to I was, several years ago.
Mm-hmm. So let me ask you, because a lot of people would use this term. In your opinion, what does it mean to be the man of the house?
The man of the house, I feel that that is that's the leader. That's the person that, when it comes to the decision making and wherever direction that the family is going, we're going with the man's decision, the male's decision. So I feel that is the man of the household. And then, for some people, they may feel that that's hard to identify solely based off, because there could be a woman of the house, there could be a man of the house, but I feel everyone has different roles. And I feel in the male's perspective, that's this definition. We move as our dad moves,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and that's what I hope to provide for my kids, for my family.
So the reason why I ask you that is I know some people have a problem with, if their partner, let's say, the woman makes more money or something like that. Um, why do you think some people have a problem with that? If the partner makes more money? Yeah.
I think it's the when it comes to who has the most say so. I think it's
Yeah.
a power trip. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So that's why I feel like a lot of men are uncomfortable with women making more money than them. Me personally, I wouldn't have a problem with it. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, it's still roles that needs to be fulfilled
Mm-hmm.
in the home. So it then and not it isn't entirely based on the financial status. So that's what I feel. And I think it's more of a power trip of who gets to say what and who has the final say so, versus and they base it on income versus an understanding.
Yeah. So I don't know how much you pay attention to, whether it's the news or kind of what's going on in society, but there are a lot of young men out there, right, that
Hmm.
that look like us. There are a lot of
Right,
young men out there that look like us, that are just involved in a lot of stuff that's not productive. Let's put it that way.
right,
Um,
yeah, right.
yeah, a lot of things that are not productive. So what do you think that could be done, like in the community, or well, really in communities and stuff like that? I'm not even going to say government, because government sometimes is so far removed and it's a lot of
Right.
promises. What do you think could be done in the community to help some of these young men?
I think it'll come down to, and that's one thing. Well, I'll touch on that next. I think it'll come down to the male figures being more present and showing these young men different alternatives in order to make it in life, because it's a different path for everyone, and
Mm-hmm.
being able to understand their situations or being able to relate to their situations and showing them the positive way. I feel that that's one of the biggest, most important things.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that not only me, but I have some close friends that do a lot of business with me. We have some mentees that hang around us all the time, and we teach them different things when it comes to business, like no, like this. And not only with business, we even show these young men how to change tires on their car. It was a situation where they called us, hey, can you help us with this? And we went up there, we gave them the tough love. Like, hey,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna show you how to do one, you're gonna do the rest.
Yeah.
The same way that how my dad showed me, and their dad showed them. So, but they hang around us. We see them just about every week, a few times a week, and they travel with us. And yeah, it's just we're learning, and they're learning
Yeah.
with us. You know what I mean? Because they're a lot of younger than they're about 10 years younger than us. So, they're still teenagers. So
Mm-hmm.
we didn't been there and done that already.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
um, yeah, that's one thing we're
Yeah,
doing.
you see a lot of people, just because when you grow up in a certain environment and all you see is, whether it's negative, there's hardly anything positive that you come across on a day-to-day basis. And
Right.
if you don't know another way, you're obviously only going to do what you know, and follow what you know, sort of thing. So that's always a problem in terms of the role that the environment or the community plays in shaping someone's life. So let me touch on just a couple more things, and then we'll be able to wrap it up. What's the role a man should play in a relationship? And I'm asking you that because I don't know if you see a lot of times where there is the independent woman, right?
Yeah.
So
Right.
when you have the independent woman, where does the man fit in? Because sometimes there seems to be like a tussle between the independent woman, then what's the role of the man? How do you think that dynamic plays out in a relationship, or can play out in a relationship?
I feel that dynamic, and you see it a lot, especially because I'm 26, so especially you know, we get that a lot, but it's kind of like, okay, so because we're gonna need each other at some point for the roles that we were destined for, that
Mm-hmm.
we were just naturally assigned to, you know. Um, and I feel that it'll be a power trip thing. It'll be more clashing, solely based off of, well, I'm independent. I don't need you to tell me to do this. And man is like, well, I'm the man. You need to listen to
Yeah,
me.
yeah,
And so that's where I feel that there can be a lot of conflict in relationships based like that, based off that, especially a lot of young relationships that don't have a good example to that, growing up, that they can, image after, model
yeah,
after.
yeah,
So especially with the youth, I see it so much. I see it a lot, and it's the independent woman, and I make more than my man, and then what do I need a man for? And everybody's basing it on social status and and income and everything. So it
yeah,
just literally just throws everything out the window when it comes to your natural assignment.
yeah. Yeah, because I mean, well, yeah, you had a lot of women say, well, what do I need a man for? Like,
Right,
I don't need a man for anything,
right,
except for some things that you need a man for, right? That,
exactly.
you know,
Yeah, I know what you mean.
yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So it's just, but and I feel some women are looking at that as, well, that's what men have done to us, because that's why they needed us, was
Right,
for that. So now, since I've got a job and I'm making some money, well, I could play that role too. Like two
right.
can play the game, or whatever the case is. And that's kind of like a toxic situation right there.
It
When,
is.
yeah, that's a toxic situation right there. So anything else you want to say about masculinity or manhood? So let me ask you though, because you brought up, are you part of a mentoring program or something? Are you?
It was just, honestly, I'm not a part of a mentoring program. It's
Yeah.
just something that was some young guys that look like me and look like us, and we've seen what they were doing, and it just, I don't know, it just, I guess God put us in the right place at the right time, and we see these guys. It's not even an assigned date. Like, hey, we meet on this day, and this is what
Mm-hmm.
we do. This is just, it's so natural. And it's like, I talked to one of them earlier today, and he was asking me about some particular things, in regards to just life, and then in business too. It was just so natural that we kind of see these young men as our little brothers in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, hey, because we're older than you, but we're not that much older than you. So
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? I'm not disconnected
Yeah.
from what you're talking about. And I'm not telling you what to do. It's
Mm-hmm.
just, hey, watch out for this. Like, y'all
Yeah.
don't, like, you know what I mean? So it's no, it's just something that we would just naturally just happen. And
That's
now these
good.
young guys, they're always around us. They're always calling us, I mean, they're funny. These kids these days is hilarious, man. It's just, it's just their mental process, and it's just different, But
Yeah.
no, it's something cool, and I would love to do it more often.
Yeah, that's something that really good. I mean, I don't know if I told you, but we have a program where I
Mhm.
work. So, I've been, man, I've probably about 12 years now.
Right,
No, no, like 11 going on 12. Well, close enough, right? Well, I've been doing it for a
right,
long time, and it's really powerful. And then you realize how you're changing someone's life when they start calling you, asking you certain questions and all that type of stuff. And you realize they're interested. And then you also realize it's because they probably don't have those role models in their life. And they're so happy to have that, which is why they're turning to you.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's why I think I was really blessed with the fact that, you know, I had a dad in my life, you know, just somebody I seen on a regular, you know. And even for some reason, like I have little cousins and everything. Um, you wouldn't believe how much my phone rings during the week of them just for every, you know what I mean? And even if it's just asking for something in particular or me showing them like, nah, this is how you make money this way. This is how you need to handle people. This is how you talk to people. This is how, you know, and because I'm seeing, because I guess the sense I'm relatively close to them in age, but I think it's more, you have to talk to kids, not at them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I've learned that really quickly. You know what I'm saying? It's not just I'm not yelling at you. I'm just no. We're having a conversation, and I'm telling you like if you do this, I'm giving you all your scenarios so you understand that this is what you can get out of this. You know, if you handle situations this way, you know. So it's really cool. I enjoy it. I enjoy being that I guess you could say go-to person, you know, with the young men that's around me that has access to me, you know. So
it's a positive thing. All right, man. Hold on 1 second. Don't go anywhere. All right. So thank you all for taking the time to watch. Don't forget to leave your comments, all that good stuff down below. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. We've got more interviews coming with regards to what is masculinity, and we'll talk about mental health as well, which is another issue that a lot of men deal with. And a lot of times it's because they struggle with expressing their emotions and their feelings and all that sort of stuff. So that's something else that we have coming up. So until the next time, be good. Peace.